the full elite tree from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that. Spoiler alert. Ooh, little cheeky look there. Anyway, hey, it's Big Matt here, and today I want to talk to you about a mod for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. It adds so much into the game and provides a whole new way of progressing through the game, adding a whole nother style of gameplay, something that you can work towards and build up and really add some depth into the game, especially in terms of customization, massively in terms of customization. And that's a mod called Retinues. Now, you may have heard of this mod. You may have heard of another similar mod called My Little Warband. Great mod, but I'll be honest, I think Retinues is a little bit better. And today I want to talk about a specific way of using the mod to create a type of gameplay that I find really fun. As somebody that's put thousands of hours into Bannerlord, mainly in Realm of Thrones, as you can see, here we are by Winterfell. Now, I think this adds so much to the game in terms of customization, and it gives you another route of something. It gives you something to do whilst you're progressing through the game, whether that be early game or late game. Now, I'll show you what I mean. What we're going to be doing is starting from scratch, which what the button you press here is going to dictate a lot and is going to completely change the way the mod works. If you want to make custom troops and have your own like special culture of troops that you can customize yourself, whether you want to make them absolutely overpowered with crazy weaponry, or you just want to have it look cool, or you want to mix and match armors together from different cultures, that's great. You can copy whatever your culture's troops are, which in this I'm in the north, and it will give you a really good starting point. But my preferred thing is to start from scratch, and I think it's so fun. So first of all, we're going to click start from scratch. We're going to go over the troops, and all we're going to have here is our retinues, the basic recruit, and the basic noble recruit, which actually, honestly, these northern noble recruits are pretty damn decent. Like, that's very, very decent for a start. Anyway, the thing I really enjoy about this is the fact that I could start the game brand new without ever really using any troops other than my own troops. And as I use my own troops, I'm going to be earning experience for these troops that I can put into their skills, that I can put into increasing their skill cap. You know, currently they're tier 1. We can upgrade the tiers as they go. Another handy thing is, if you don't want to run around on the map and wait for these troops to join you, as they will just naturally. If we see here, look, I've set to get 4 and 15. So if I wander around on the map, boom, suddenly we've now got 3 troops. Well, we've got 2, including 3, including myself. But over time, they'll just naturally sort of flock to your group. No initial recruit cost, but they do have the same upkeep cost. Now, the other thing I could do, if there was actually any troops there, and let me guess, somebody's just recruited here probably. Oh no, so let's say we've got these 3 troops. So I recruit some basic northern troops. I can come in here and I can convert them over to my house guard. And there we go. Now we have my house guard, Hood House Guard. Now, the thing that I really enjoy about this is the fact that as you start with these troops, currently, this is all of the equipment that we have unlocked. All of the weaponry we have is this, and we've got 1 helmet, a green hood, basic northern garb, basic gloves, basic boots. Anything that I want to equip these troops with, I'm going to have to unlock for them. Now, this is where we come into the settings, which is so worth looking through. Have a good look through these settings. What I've set is so that, first of all equipment is not unlocked. There's another option to have all your culture equipment unlocked. That could be interesting, but I don't want that on. So what I've got it set is that I unlock items from kills. If I kill 250 troops that are using, let's say, a longbow, specifically, I will then be able to equip my troops with a longbow. You also have this, unlock items from discards, which is to say, I've set this to 10. I'm not sure what the defaults are because I've messed around with this. I used to have this on 5, but I'm going to put it on 10. That will mean that, let's say I wanted to equip my troops with a noble bow. I could do that if I go around cities and buy 10 noble bows and then just throw them away. That'll then allow me to equip my troops. So that's an expensive way of doing it. If it's going to be 30 grand a piece, you're going to have to spend 300 grand to be able to actually unlock the privilege of using a noble longbow. There's also some other things like item unlock progression, also adds progression to random items of the player culture. That's kind of neat. I'll leave that as is. Then you've got other settings here, for instance, the cost to actually equip your items here. I've messed around with these. I think that, yeah, I've put it as 1. The equipment cost is very expensive, but you know what? Maybe it should be expensive. There's other things that are a little bit more tedious, like equipping takes time. I'm not a massive fan of just standing around in a city doing nothing. If it was instead that maybe you had to like do a little mini game to equip them or something, or you had to train for a session before they're equipped, maybe I don't know. You can also disallow mounts for tier 1 troops. So without this, I could have a tier 1 troop, a basic recruit that can have a mount. I'd turn that off just so that I have full customization. If I want a mount, I can. You can also have stuff like formation overrides. I wouldn't turn that on. That's basically going to say that I could make it so that my troops that are an archer, I could override that and make them in the infantry section. But then it's going to cause the AI to do weird things and all that. Now you can get other stuff as well. You can set the maximum tier that your troops can go, which can go up to tier 10, which is beyond anything the base game, or Realm of Thrones for that matter, has. Normally tier 6 is default. You can have it so that it takes time. You can have the multiplier for XP. You can increase or decrease the cost that each skill point you apply costs, which I put at 50. You can also increase the cost, sort of, the higher the skill point you are at, the more it's going to cost to apply more. So I think that's pretty basic there. Shared XP pool, that means that I have this turned on because it is a bit of a pain. It means that each individual troop, if I want to level up my archers, the archers will need to get a lot of XP. Kind of makes sense, but it can really make it into a long journey to upgrade your troops, which can be fantastic if that's what you want to do. Also, XP refunds, I've turned this on just because if you accidentally put the wrong skill in and you go, oh, I didn't mean to do that, you've now lost XP. It's a bit sad, but maybe if you want to have a hardcore thing, again, this is these settings. These settings are so handy. You can set whether or not they're in tournaments or not. Now, here's a really big setting, the skill caps. You can set the maximum skill level that each tier has, which I've put them, some of them high, some of them low. I think the lower tiers are pretty standard. So, for instance, tier 6, I can't have a tier 6 troop have anything more than 250 skills. So if I had an archer, I can put him at 250, which is, I think that's pretty good, actually. I think most things would be like 200 to 230. Tier 5 is, I think, maybe 100 to 120. So there's a bit of a bonus here. But you also get the retinue skill cap bonus, which I've put to 10. So your retinues will be able to go even higher than that. So that's, again, you can mess around with it. There's even hero skill cap. You can have your own heroes here. Here we have the retinue. So this is the skill total, sorry. Skill total is another important thing. That is the total amount of skills that you can put in. So that means if you want a troop that's good at, let's say you've got cavalry, you want to max out the cavalry skill, you want to max out one-hander, you want to max out polearm, and you want to max out throwing weapon, you're going to run out of total skill. I could then up this and also give them athletics as well. But obviously you're going to have to build up the experience to actually get that. So if we go in here, I'll show you a little bit more about how this works exactly. In fact, what I will do, one tip I will give you, if you are playing a game where you are building up your troops, you have no gear for them at the start, and you want to earn gear for your troops, which I find such a fun way of playing. Something to be careful of is do not have cheat mode turned on and open the inventory, because what will happen is the inventory will show 10 of every single item in the game, and when you close the inventory menu, it will say, you've thrown away weapons, now you can equip them, and it's like, oh shit, it's screwed the whole progression of the whole thing. So if you ever have to turn cheat mode on, as a tip, come down here and go unlock from discards, turn that off. Now what I could do, let's say I'm starting as Robin Hood here, and I'm like, you know what, I don't have a single bow unlocked, and that feels a bit crappy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn unlocks from discards off, then I'm going to put cheat mode on, which takes a while to load because it's got every single item in the whole mod and game. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab, what did I set it to? Did I set it to 10, I think? So let's say I'm like, right, I'm going to give my troops a longbow. So I can just grab 10 like that, and then I'll maybe come down here and grab them like some basic, what's a basic arrow? Just burning arrows, let's say. Close that. Now that I've done that, what I'll do is, well, I may as well just turn cheat mode off, like so. And then I can come back into the menu here, retinues. I can scroll down to equipment unlock from discards. And now nothing is unlocked. My progress with unlocks is not absolutely screwed. And I can come into my inventory here and I can throw away these weapons, at which point, ta-da, new gear unlocked. So I can come in here, whoops, daisy. I can come into the clan, come to my troops, and I go, right, I want my retinues to be archers. So I'm going to say, I'm going to get rid of this polearm skill, I'm going to get rid of that, get rid of throwing, get rid of that, and I'm going to bump up the archery here, and the athletics maybe. And I can come into the equipment here, I'll unequip everything there. I can say, right, I want you to have a long... Now here's the thing. I've only got 1,000 gold at the start. Well, I've got even less now. Why have I got even less? I can't remember. Anyway, so I'm like, I want to equip you with a longbow. Great. Well, I can't afford that because I can't afford to get the burning arrows. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to use the base weapon, which would be this. Normally they'll give you one weapon that will be unlocked by default so that you can have something. In this case, it's a ridged iron broadsword. Not a bad sword whatsoever. In fact, pretty decent. Not to mention that I've unequipped this guy, so now it's put the items that he was equipped with in the stock that I can put on another troop if I want. I can't sell those. I can't sell what's in the stock. Once you buy it, you buy it. You can't sell that. The other thing as well, if you want to not, accidentally buy it, you can also click preview mode and I can go, that's what these arrows will look like. Lovely. You don't have to buy that. Oh, that's what that mace looks like. Lovely. Just in case. Great for the armor. So I can come in here and I can put on whatever we've got here. Green garb, there you go. Some rough-tied braces, first men boots. Cool. If I had a little bit more money, I'd give them some arrows as well. But I can't. And that's what the progression is. That's what I really enjoy. So the other setting I have is that whenever I purchase an item, like a longbow, whoopsie-daisy, whenever I purchase an item like a longbow, it's going to reduce the cost of that basically forever now, because I've purchased that once. So let's pump, oh sorry, wrong one there. Let's dump some skills into my basic tier 1 troop. If I was to buy a longbow, you can see it's green. The price is slightly lower. Each time I buy another longbow for another troop, it's going to get even cheaper. So that's a nice little thing. Again, you can turn that off if you want. You can leave it on, turn it off, whatever you want. But what it means is that you end up with this gameplay style where, for instance here, I was planning on doing a whole series in Realm of Thrones where I only ever use at the start retinues, and then once I become a vassal of someone, I can use my regular troops. But it means that I'm not going to be able to get troops higher than tier 2. So you're going to be, out there with a little bit of a limitation. And if I want to equip him like this with arrows, I can have him be, he can have a sword and a shield. Great, that's fantastic. But I can't afford the arrows yet, so I'm going to have to go off and adventure, go to Winterfell, maybe sell some stuff so that I can afford to get the arrows for them. But it adds another bit of sort of gameplay. A lot of the times in this game, I find that you build up a lot of money. Also, I should just say, pro tip, if you want money at the beginning of the game, sell the stealth stuff. I don't bother with stealth. I'm not interested in stealth in this game, I'll be honest. Not really my cup of tea. A little bit tedious. So anyway, now I can get some money to actually show you here. Let's go. Burning arrows. Cool. So now these troops are properly equipped. Fantastic. So in order to get some of these, I would want to get some noble youths and recruit them. But I've got 2 already, so that's not bad. So I'll grab some food. Sorry, I don't know why I'm grabbing food and stuff. I'm not actually playing this save right now. But yeah, what this means is you can have so much more gameplay where instead of just immediately come here, recruit troops, go there, recruit troops, go there, recruit troops, get some bandits, blah, blah, blah. Now it's different. Now I'm like, okay, I have my own troops. Every time we fight, we're going to get XP. You get more XP if you fight a battle yourself, less XP if you auto-resolve. Pretty standard. Good tip with that is if you're going to auto-resolve a bunch of battles, instead, get the mod RTS camera. And on RTS camera, there's a little pro tip. Where is it? I think you have to go in a battle. But in a battle, if you press, I believe it's either L or it's end or something, end or home, it'll open a menu and you can keybind fast mode. I keybind it to V. Doesn't seem like there's much else on V. And it means that when I go into a battle, I can press V, it fast forwards the whole battle. The same fast forward that you get when you normally die, and you can finish the match quickly, finish the battle quickly. But instead it lets you do it while you're alive. So it means that if there's tedious battles where you would auto-resolve, but you don't want to auto-resolve because you're going to lose more troops and you're not going to get as much XP and skill, you can still kind of auto-resolve. You know, you can speed up the tedious battles, which I think is really handy, especially on some maps. There's a map at the wall which is like 5 miles long, and when they corner camp, it's an absolute nightmare. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video just to show that there's, you know, a different type of gameplay style to this game, where you can really not just be a Bannerlord, but you're actually managing your whole warband. You've got your own troops, and it's not just that you're dressing them up how you like them to look. No, you're actually needing to earn money so that you can then equip them with whatever troops you want, whatever gear you want. There's decent limitations in there, you know. All the armors. I'm not sure if it's base game. I think it's a Realm of Thrones thing, but all the armors will have specific requirements for athletics. In fact, you know what? I've showed you the fresh one. Let me go on another save I have here, which is a save I have just for making like battles and fun little duels and stuff like that. I'll go on here and I'll show you what it's like when you have everything unlocked, which is what this save has, which allows you, I'll be honest, to make some absolutely busted troops. And in fact, I have a troop that I made. I just wanted to make an archer troop that was absolutely bonkers, and yeah, I mean, they took down a dragon in about 3 seconds. It was insane. Also, while the loading screen's going, oh no, there we go. Oh, I must have saved before Night King there. Anyway, if we come onto here, this is my save where I've got a bunch of stuff unlocked. So this, I've set it, instead of starting from scratch, I've set it to start from my culture, which was the Stormlands. And so here I have now the full elite tree from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that. Spoiler alert. Ooh, little cheeky look there. Anyway, and you've got your regular recruits. Start tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. The alternate, the spearman version, the horseman version. The whole troop tree's there. And with this, it gives you a bit more of a starting point. Maybe if you're starting with a kingdom already and you just want troops off the bat, and you've got all their troops here. But look, if I wanted to, let's say I've got this, I don't know, let's say I want to take my tier 1 recruit and I want to make him overpowered. It's like, well, you can't make him too overpowered. You can come down here, like with bows, you're limited. I can give him a hunting bow, a mountain hunting bow, a practice bow, a step bow. You know, there's sort of limitations. Now, there are certain items which, even through the limitations, for instance, I think here, what would it be? Strong tribesman bow. That is a bonkers bow for 50 skill. So that means a tier 2 troop basically could have a strong tribesman bow, but it's a possibility. So you can put your own sort of like limitations on if you want, if just so that you don't want things to be too overpowered. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do here. You can start off with something. You know, if I wanted to, I wanted to give my tier 1 troops a really nice axe. Well, have I got 1,000 gold to do that? Who knows? And if you change the settings, I've set it so that it's 1-to-1 cost. Whatever the cost of an item is in like a town or whatever, that's the cost of it is to equip. I think by default it's set to 2 or 3 times, which is probably a bit better if you're playing the long game and you don't want to just snowball immediately. But yeah, just mess around with all these settings. Really try a campaign maybe where you can only get an item after you've discarded 100, and you can only get an item if you've killed 1,000 units, and it costs 10 times the cost to equip all your troops. Something like that could be like really brutal, but it's going to give you this like a nice little drip feed of progression, which the base game doesn't really have. You know, in the base game, you are just a Bannerlord using troops that are already made, that are already out there. With this, you're your own Bannerlord with your own warband, with your own troops. You can make them exactly how you want them to be from the ground up. You know, if I'm like, right, I want some great armor for my, you could sort by value here, and let's see, like, what's the most expensive armor that a tier 1 troop could wear? Gambeson. That's probably about the best in this with the Realm of Thrones. The Gambeson gear, it's like 28, 29. Like, I could set him up. Let's say, what am I? Let's go green Gambeson. Look at that, tier 1 troop with 28 body armor. That's nuts. But it is also 10,000 gold, so you're not really going to be able to do that straight away. You're not going to have 10 grand to spare, let alone 10 grand total in like super early. So there are like sort of limitations there. There's even like a wolf. You could have like a let's do like this. You could have like wolf troops. Look at that. Have some like cheeky lads out here. Some hunters that are wolf hunters. You could. It's really cool. You can have these custom set troops with burning arrows, for instance. Personal favorite, of course, being, where is it? Is it page 6 or is it page 7? I'm going to page 7 here, maybe, and you've got the axe. Yeah, so look at this. Well, I mean, look at this for a tier 1 troop. Like a decent longbow, burning arrows, so that's 54 burning arrows, a nice two-handed axe, decent armor, 28 armor. For a tier 1... Oh, sorry, that's tier 2, I should say, sorry. For a tier 2 troop, that's bonkers. Like, how cool is that? So as you can see, I've got 24,000 XP, so if I wanted, I'm like, bam, 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 bam. If I want two-handed, let's get rid of the one-handed skill. But, like, for instance, here, I'm like, if I don't need polearm, I'll get rid of polearm, I'll get rid of that. Now, this is where the XP pool comes in. Because let's say here, I'm like, I don't need horse skill. So as you can see, I'm getting rid of my horse skill. It gives me the XP back. That's kind of like, if you want to play a bit more sort of, I don't know, realistic, a bit more hardcore, you could set it so that there's no refunds. You put a skill in, that's it. You want to reduce that skill because you put it in the wrong thing, then you're going to have to build that XP up. Again, it provides a long game, which I think this game really needs. This game can become so trivial so quickly. Although I suppose it's because if you do blacksmithing, it's the things that you do, the way that you cheese the siege and just smash down the walls easily, and your blacksmith and all that. But I just think it adds so much. So anyway, you can see here I've got a troop here which has got 275 on skills. We've got a golden heart bow, which, good lord, man. There's a reason they talk about this bow, these archers in the books, these golden heart longbows from the Summer Isles, and how they can outrange all the other ships. It's because, look at that. I like 100 accuracy, 97 pierce. The Raven's Teeth, these are the House Blackwood arrows. 5 pierce, 33 stack, bonkers. Not necessarily the best axe there is, but I just thought it looked kind of cool. We've got like Lannister noble gear. Look at this, like 56 armor there. Not very good bracelet. I didn't want them to have gloves, but I thought I'll give them 5 armor, and the gold kind of matches a bit. Crazy mirrorish helmet, because I thought that kind of works nice with the cape there. But this goes to show the things you can do. But if you're going to want this sort of armor, you're getting into these prices of like hundreds of thousands of gold. Now, of course, for instance, I've bought this Lannister Royal Armor. If I went to, I don't know, this troop and made sure that they had a lot of athletics, in fact, they may not even be able to have enough athletics. I'm going to say Lannister, oh no, you can't, you need that 160. That's pain. I was going to say, if you wanted to equip your troops with this armor again, it would now be reduced in price because I bought it once. Again, that's something you can tweak around with. But yeah, I've probably rambled a bit too long on this video, but I just wanted to show this mod off because I see a lot of people using it and they just use it to make their custom troops to fit with maybe a kingdom they're doing. Maybe they're doing kingdom from like a book that they like. For instance, I've been trying to do like a Raymond Feast Midkemia kingdom, maybe do like Krondor and the like Callus's eagles as a archer or something. That'd be really cool, and that's really great for that. Give yourself 10 million gold and go bonkers and customize your own, troops and stuff. Or I suppose you don't need to give yourself gold. You can just turn off all the costs and just make your own custom troops. But I think there's such a great opportunity with this mod to play the game in such a style where you start with nothing. And the other thing is, you're by default with the default settings, you are limited to the amount of retinues. I think you can get I think it's like 4 tier 1 retinues and maybe 2 tier 2 retinues, which is very low. So that, for instance, on a potential playthrough I'm going to do where I would only be using retinues until I get a castle or a settlement, which will be a clan tier 2, I've upped the amount of retinues that you could actually have so that I could actually have like a full party of retinues. So that, I think that's like that's again, these are settings that you want to tweak to get, the right sort of experience. But yeah, I'm really kind of looking forward to when I do figure out what exactly I'm going to do with it and tweak around with the settings and have a full run in this game where I don't use anyone else's troops. I only use my troops. And I've also got it set so that my companions can recruit my troops. In fact, if I've got a castle, anyone could come to my villages and recruit my troops. And so I could end up seeing my troops out in the world, but I think it's less likely because, for instance, the AI works differently. Like Rob Stark here, he has Stark troops. If he goes to a Dornish village, he will be recruiting Stark troops because that's how the mod is coded. But my companions, they'll have all sorts because they'll be recruiting prisoners. They'll have, so I can set it so that my companions use my troops as well. So we can have an army full of just my custom troops. But the other thing as well, sorry, I haven't even covered this bit, is that beyond the regular troops, the elite troops, you can customize your militia. You can customize the troops that your caravans go with. Customize your villagers. These are things that you get into doctrines. It didn't even cover doctrines. Good lord, I've rambled for like half an hour and I didn't even get to doctrines. So you've got all these things like hero kills count twice for unlocks. That could be really good if you've got it. If you've got it so that you need to get 1,000 kills before you can get an unlock, that maybe helps out a bit. You can get item unlocks from allied kills, item unlock from allied casualties, scavengers. That makes sense. And then you can just pay to unlock all culture items, getting a rebate on clan culture gear, that's nice. The smithed weapons, this is really big. And the way that you get these is you've got these little tasks, like personally defeat 25 enemies in a battle, defeat 5 tier 5 troops in a battle, personally defeat a lord. What are these things? Defend a city against a besieging army, personally slay 50 assailants during a siege, and raise the militia value to 400. Interesting little tasks that will give you nice stuff. Like this whole tree is all about unlocking. Like I've never unlocked captains. I'm not even sure what that necessarily is. I'm guessing that's it's a companion thing. I would imagine you can have custom companions. But look how cool this is. All of these things that you can unlock. These are just basically just giving you extra. Oh, look at that! So this would allow you to refund XP. See, I didn't even see that before. So that I will turn that off then probably now. So it's less sort of cheaty by default. But yeah, I'm going to set up a playthrough at some point where I try and start like proper bare bones. Like I'm not going to start with 0 gold. I just mean only my troops, and my troops will have literally whatever the tier 1 North troops and the tier 2, the starting tier elite troops are. That's it. If I want to tier them up, I need to get the experience. If I want armor, I'm going to have to kill a bunch of enemies, so on and so forth. I've got to figure out the numbers. So I think what have we got here? I don't know, what settings did I put them on? Like 250 kills, that feels reasonable. Like you got it. If I've killed an enemy that uses a specific hammer 250 times, I can then use that. I had that set, I think, on 50 last time I was playing, and I had discards set on 5, so that it was a bit sped up. But you do find yourself unlocking stuff really quickly when you set this low. So I think 10 discards is fair dues. Like if I want to use a bow that costs 100 grand, I'm going to have to spend 1,000,000 gold, and I'm going to have to find villages that are going to sell, because barely any places or barely any settlements are going to be selling 10 of an item at a time, especially if it's high tier. I'd buy like 1 noble bow from a settlement, and then I'd have to go to another settlement. Maybe I can get 2 there. And, you're working towards this stuff, and the kills as well. 250, you'll get there in some time. I just think every time I've seen people mention this, also I've seen a lot of people that have asked about what this mod is, but other people that mention this mod, but they completely overlook the idea that you could play this as really from scratch, as your own clan, as your own warband, building up from nothing, being able to equip your troops. I mean, you can turn on all of these other things like like you got to wait in a town to equip your item, to equip your troops, and you've got to you can restrict to same culture settlements. Vassal lords can recruit troops. All lords can recruit custom troops. I've put the custom volunteers, so I've set it so that in my settlements it'll only have my troops. That's a setting that you can tweak with there. Doctrines, you can have the doctrines unlocked or not. I mean, there's so many interesting things here. The retinue ratio. This was something that I had to change. So this was where I wanted to be able to have a full army of retinues at the start, because otherwise I'd be having 6 troops until I've got basically clan tier 2, which isn't really going to work. So I set this so that I was wondering what necessarily it meant, the proportion of basic retinues. What it means is that you can have basic retinues that make up 75% of your army, and you can have elite retinues that make up 25%. So that's what I've set it to. By default, that was much lower, and it would mean that at the start you could only have like, I don't know, like 4 tier 1 retinues and 2 tier 2 retinues, something like that, which is wasn't enough for what I wanted to do, so I upped it. So now, I mean, I'm clan tier 6, so this is like very high, but I can have like 200 of them and 65 of them. But yeah, mess around with the settings, explore it. This mod has the potential to add so much to new playthroughs of this game. Really add some depth, and I think Tale Worlds honestly needs to like really get a little bit more in communication with a lot of these mod developers to try and work on somehow maybe integrating it. You know what I mean? Get them involved. Chuck them a bit of cash on the side and get him on contract. You know what I mean? Really make this game a little bit less sort of, by default it does feel very, very sandboxy. You're out in the world, you do your regular things that you always do, and it's having these little things, your own custom troops. The player settlement one is really great as well if you customize that. That's what I wanted to use, but unfortunately it's not updated for this version of Realm of Thrones. Otherwise I would start as like, I'd put like a little castle here and have like Robin Hood's little band of merry men, so that I can start with a castle, so that I'd skip the retinues and just use the clan troops of my own, and I'd start with, just the tier 1 troop with like, basic longbow and basic arrows. I'd really like to do that. I'd like to do that because it means that you're stuck. I can't level up my troops until they've got experience, which lets me actually give them an extra tier of level up that they could then level up to. So it means that there's a progression there where we are going to be. I'm not going to be able to just go and level up my troops really early and go and take on some sea bandits or whatnot. I'm going to have to like slowly work my way up there. But anyway, I rambled far too long on this, and I'm going to have a right pain trying to edit it down. But yeah. Stick around if you want to potentially see a playthrough of this, like maybe a little bit of a hardcore, starting from nothing playthrough, building up my own troops, see if we can eventually take over the Iron Throne with our own troops, with our own kingdom, with our own like clan. That could be kind of fun, break away from it all and all that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, let me know if you've got any, like, if you have any specific settings or any like tips or anything for using this mod, or even other mods that are in the same sort of vein, the same sort of style of making the game a little bit more customizable and whatnot. Let me know. But anyway, again, I'm rambling far too long. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Whack a subscribe if you like. I make some funny shorts here and there about like battles or memes or jokes or whatever that come to mind when I'm playing this. Check them out if you want, or not. It's all good. And yeah, have a nice day. See you around. Bye bye.